just while we're waiting for people to come back in, does anyone have any questions about what we've done this morning or any ahas that you'd like to share? Any? Yep, we've got one over here. Just wait for the mic when you ask your question so that we can capture that and everyone will be able to hear.
Hi. Hello. Yes. Oh, yes. Hi, everyone.
What's your name?
Hi, everyone. My name's Lisa.
This is Lisa, everyone. Hey, Lisa.
Hi. Yes. When I signed up for this...
Oh, now there's a little bit of...
You're already pushing me into the place that I need to be. Yes, of course. Hi, everyone. Yes, Maggie. When I signed up for this 3-day event, it's like I knew I just had to be here. And it's amazing because even though I've read the information about what's happening, I kind of realized that I'm back to where I started a few years ago and ready to really take that step. And it was such a big wake-up call for me that, because I keep saying, just leave me where I need to be, put me where I need to be, how I can serve and whatever. And I've been sabotaging my own steps forwards by keeping myself small instead of really taking the steps, even though I know what to do, I've got the knowledge, I feel confident, courageous, but there's just something that I've been stopping myself from playing full out. And it's amazing, so great to come together with like-minded people in this space. I feel like I'm definitely here and it's going to be happening. So thank you.
It's my pleasure.
For opening this opportunity.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very, very much. And who does that or has done that? Who's played small? I was guilty of that for so much of my life. And it really, and I know you have, Michelle, absolutely. I've watched you over the last 7 years play small. And your only step, Michelle is one of our current authors and she's launching tomorrow night. And it's taken a lot of mindset change to step up and be that. And you've been, how many years have you been doing this? 20, 30, yeah. And it's only now that she believes, and even still, you can see it in her face, it's kind of like, oh my God, I'm really going to step up and be an author. But it's about owning your expertise. 30 years or 25 years of expertise, and she's only now owning it. Who's been there where you've got 5, 10, 20 years of expertise? And you just, or even if you're learning something new and bringing something new to the world that you really believe in what you're teaching, then it's about owning that. And half of it's here, isn't it? It's what goes on between our ears. Any other little awarenesses or questions? Yes, we have one here from the beautiful Lulu. Lourdes or Lulu?
So I have to thank you, Maggie.
Come forward.
Oh, I have to come forward.
Oh, no, I have to come forward.
First, I've got to thank you, Maggie, and your staff and everyone here, because I just feel right now I'm really in the right place. So I said to Maggie earlier, I'm just feeling overwhelmed with gratitude. So one thing that I am here for is that I am an accidental counselor because something happened in my life wherein we lost our only child. And no counselor can ever counsel me. So I became my own first client. So I am more into grief and loss and working for some companies. But now I think I need to expand more because a lot of the issues in life, whether addiction or marital issues or everything, focuses on grief. But I feel that I really want to do it now in my own way and with your help, because it's really a big issue. And I feel that with the group here right now, it's a very, very wonderful privilege to be with Maggie and the rest.
Thank you, Lulu. Thank you. We might give that one back in case there's any other questions. So the key really is about owning who you are, isn't it? Who was an accidental therapist? I was an accidental therapist. I didn't mean to be a therapist. I didn't go into psychology to actually help other people. I was a mess. I needed sorting out, yeah? And I became an accidental therapist. I became an accidental brain trainer because I had a stroke. Yeah, at the age of 39, I had a major stroke and I had to learn how to walk and talk again. And I became an accidental brain therapist. Yeah. So our lives and our experiences can bring so much to the stories that we're about to tell in our books. And the lives and experiences of our clients, everybody has a story, don't they? If you think back to all the clients you've treated and the heartbreaking stories, the joyous stories, the shifts and the changes, they inspire people. That's what we're about. Yeah, this isn't just about writing technical books. This is about writing our soul into something that is actually going to inspire, whether it's for other therapists, whether our target market and reader is for other therapists, or whether it is for what I call the end user, which is somebody who's going through a need for grief and counselling, or somebody who's going through a relationship challenge or communication issue, or somebody that needs help with IBS, or whatever it is that we work with in our specialty. Any other questions just before we move on? Anything about the content? Anything? No? We're all good? Let's do it. So what we're going to work on right now is an understanding of where you are now. If we don't know what we need to change and what we need to work on to reach that next step on the ladder, then we can't change it. Can't change what we don't know. So the first step is actually understanding where we are currently at. And all of you will fit into somewhere on this ladder or a mix between the two. And like me, some of you might be cycling through a couple of rungs on the ladder and going up and down and up and down. Okay? So the first stage is that you're dabbling, it's a hobby. You might be nervously having a little fun, practicing with friends, and you're working on, what you should be working on is honing your skills. So at this level, 80% of your time needs to be honing your skills and confidence, and 10% needs to be on the level above, and 10% the level below, which is going back to basics. Okay? At the next level, which is stage 2, we call you an apprentice. This is where it's a casual focus, where you're still gaining skills. You need to start focusing a little bit on marketing and on developing your own style. So you've learned some skills, and now it's about bringing all of those skills together and bringing it into your own unique package. Who's done that? Where you might have learned EFT, and you might have learned hypnosis, and you might have learned counselling, but then you've developed a couple of skills that actually mix all of that together and you've come up with something unique and a couple of strategies and things. Yeah, absolutely. That's my CPR brain training model. And I'm sure that you will have something as well, which we call that your unique transformational system. And when we get clarity on that, you're able to then own that as your own material, your own marketing. At the next level, you're part-time. You know this is your calling. You want to develop, products or reach a bigger audience, and you'd like to leave your job if you're working part-time and doing your practice part-time. You want to be able to build your practice to a stage where you can leave your job and own it full-time. So just think about where you are or if you've been through those levels and those stages. Some people start at level 1 and then bounce straight to level 5. Some people work up each of the levels. The next one is full-time, sometimes overtime. This is where I got to, where it was completely overtime. And this is about developing your right mindset, making sure that you work through your fear of success and your fear of failure, and being able to really get great at your marketing and your own credibility and manage your stress as you get busier. Oh, and I cycled here. I just kept going up between stages 3 and 5. I just kept cycling around and around, because then I got to a stage where I was doing some small and large groups. I was doing some higher paid clients and some coaching clients, and I was really specializing. But then I would kick in with my sabotage behaviors and I would scroll back down again. So I was constantly going up and down. And then, of course, stage 6 is where you become an industry leader, a career mentor, and you're making a difference on a bigger global scale. Okay? If we look at those from a practicality point of view, we need to be focusing at each stage of the ladder that you're on, 80% of your attention. God. Sorry. You needed to pay attention to that. 80% of your attention needs to be on the the level that you're on, the stage of the ladder that you're on. And as I said, 10% on the growth of the next stage and 10% on the foundation and skills of the stage before you, so that you're continually building your foundation, working on your current state and working on growing as well. So if we look at that from a financial perspective and a time perspective, stage 1 at the newbie level, you're usually dabbling, you're doing, maybe 1 to 4 people a week. They might be even friends. You're earning maybe up to $500 a week, and you need to be still working on your doubts and skills, and worrying about should I really be doing this? Who am I to treat people? All of that. Stage 2, it's casual. So you're doing maybe 5 to 7 one-on-one clients per week. It's all still one-on-one. And you're earning maybe $500 to $1,000 per week, and you need to be focusing on your skills and experience. But you also need to be putting 10% of your attention back down on letting go of doubts and fears to grow still. Yeah? But you also need to put 10% of your attention on networking and marketing and generating new audience. And so at level 3, we're an all-rounder. We're maybe doing up to 10 clients per week, earning maybe 52 to 100K a year, and we're really putting the majority of our attention on networking and marketing, building an audience, building a client base, maybe doing social media, all of that. Yep. But we also need to put 10% of our attention on growth, stepping up to the next level, which is scaling. So 10% of our attention needs to be on developing products, thinking about packaging and modelling. And at that level, you might be doing the 11 to 20 clients per week, earning between 100 to 200K a year, and you're starting to really leverage and develop products, or at least thinking about it. And we I call that the professional stage, where you're in business. You really know you can rely on your business. You can rely on the fact that it's going to solidly bring in that kind of income and help that amount of people each week or each year. At the next level, we're earning between 200 and 400K, and we've actually got systems in place that we can breathe now. So we've got lots of automation in place. We've maybe got online courses, or we've maybe got a product out there that's selling online. We might be doing a 0 to many model, and we're starting to breathe. So we've got small or large groups. We might be doing webinars, seminars, that kind of thing, as well as still some one-on-one clients. And, of course, level 6 is freedom. It's around 400K a year up to $1 million plus, and it's where things are systemized, things are automated. You're helping as big an audience as you possibly can. You're still in growth stage. You're also an industry thought leader, so you're respected in the industry. You may be speaking at conferences or industry organizations, etc. Can everybody put themselves somewhere on that ladder? Yep, at the moment, where you are right now. That's really what you want to focus on now, is where am I now? And where do I want to be? Now, even if you want to be 2 steps ahead on the ladder or 3 steps ahead on the ladder, you can, but you need to look at what needs to happen in order for you to sustain that growth. So you can jump from level 2 to level 6. It's absolutely possible, but you need help in order to put the systems in place to make sure that that doesn't crumble. Okay? Now, I used that example earlier where I was kind of going from level, maybe 3 to level 6, and then I dropped down again, and that went on for years because I didn't have the systems in place. I didn't have the support structures in place in order to sustain that growth. So I'd grow, realise I couldn't handle it, or realise I wasn't handling the stress because I wasn't able to automate it properly, and I get sick and I drop back down. So the more you have the systems in place at each rung of the ladder, the more likely you are to be able to reach a rung and stay there whilst you're still focusing on the next stage. And beyond level 6, if you want to go beyond level 6 as well. Yep, the sky's the limit. So who wants thought leader status? You don't have to, but who actually wants that? Who wants to be a thought leader in your industry, to actually be out there on a global scale doing that? Yeah? Yeah. Own it. If you want it, own it. Can't make it happen if you don't own it. Who wants to just automate, have a really nice, comfortable life, have, 6-figure, 100K plus, comfortability, stability, knowing you can trust your business? Yeah, absolutely. Who wants to know that you can leave a little in the kitty for retirement so that the work you're doing right now is paying for you while you're grey nomading it around the country or doing whatever you want to do in retirement. Yep. That was the big kicker for me. I wanted to know that I could actually provide for my retirement as well. Which in this industry, traditionally, if we're working for ourselves especially, you know, we don't have huge supers. We don't have that kind of stability behind ourselves, and we have to find a way to do that. Excellent. So, 6 reasons why wellness practitioners often get stuck cycling between these stages, and this was definitely me, okay? They're only taught to swap hours for dollars. They don't like selling because it feels icky. I'm a therapist. I'm not a marketer. I'm a therapist. I help people. I'm not a salesperson. Who's got that going on? Absolutely. They think of themselves as a healer, not a small business owner, or what I call a therapreneur, which is a really hard word to say. So it's not going to take on. I like it, but it's hard to say. They don't know how to leverage or turn their knowledge into product to build audiences, or how to use the latest digital strategies. Who gets a bit freaked out by all the digital stuff and how fast it's growing? Nearly everybody in the room, yeah? What was that? And you're in IT. Mr. Happy's in IT and he gets freaked out by it. And honestly, it does. It grows and changes constantly. Who uses Facebook? How fast does that change? You can do an ad campaign or an organic campaign 1 week, and 6 weeks later you do the same campaign and you get nowhere with it, yeah? Because the systems and the algorithms are constantly changing. And to me, that's about expertise. I don't want to be the Facebook expert. I want to ask help of the Facebook experts. And so for me, it's not about how, it's about who. Who do I know that knows their job, and their job is to keep on top of the Facebook algorithms? Does that make sense? Most of us get overwhelmed because we're asking how. How am I going to keep on top of this? How am I going to do that? How am I going to do this? How am I going to know enough about Facebook to make it successful? Stop asking how and ask who. Who do I know that already does this and it's their job to do it? And they do it because they love it. Deal? They're too busy finding clients and managing what they currently have. Who's there? I know you've been there, Brett, absolutely, where you're so busy managing what you've got. I was there, where I was managing the Indigenous Literacy contract and just trying to keep my head above water doing that. And I couldn't grow. I didn't know how to grow. I knew I wanted to grow. I knew I wanted to write the books. I knew I wanted to get out there, but I was so busy keeping my head above water that it never actually happened. Too busy. And they've got the imposter syndrome. That's number 6. Who has that? Oh my God, who am I to write a book? Who am I to put myself out there in the industry? Who am I to stand up in front of other industry professionals? What will they think? What will they say about me? I still have that. Yeah, next year I'm speaking at the Hypno Thoughts, is it? In front of about 1,000 people, yeah? I still go, oh my God, who am I to do that? Who am I to go to the States? And I'm just little Maggie in Australia and I've got my nice little audience here. And who am I to do that? Whatever stage you are at, you're going to come up against that. But if you start believing it, you'll stay where you are. So I now see it as just a little chatterbox in my head that's there for life, and I'll just, accept it and not believe it or listen to it. And so wherever you are, if you believe the stuff you're saying to yourself that isn't helpful to you, I'm going to ask you this weekend to just consider that it's wiring, firing in your brain, and it's not who you are. It's just wiring, firing. Because your brain learned how to say that to you. And it's now a little broken record, and it's saying it again and again and again to protect you. But what if every doubt, every fear that you've ever had in your life was just wiring, firing in your brain? Just an electrical circuit. And if you learned how to switch off the electrical circuit, you could switch on a different one that said, I can, I will, and I do. How cool is that? So stop believing that itty-bitty voice in the back of your mind, that tail-end voice that says, what if, should I, could I, what will they say? Well, what if they say it's great? What if they say I'm really interested in that topic? What if they say I'm so glad she put that book out, or I'm so glad he produced that course? What if? So, if you are stuck in that cycle on those ladders, if you're cycling between 2 or 3 of those stages, what kept you stuck? If you were really honest with yourself right now, what do you think it is that's kept you stuck? Does anyone have anything that they want to share? You don't have to share, but is there anything that you are happy to share with the group? Has anyone got a mic at the back? Can we, just over here, actually the front row, we've got 2 or 3, and then we've also got Elizabeta here. Just here.
Mine would, the biggest one would be fears of stability and fears of my health crashing.
So fear of stability, so fear that you wouldn't be able to maintain the success, is that it? And fear that you might get sick, or if your health crashes, everything tumbles.
That's right.
I understand that. I struggled with that, absolutely. And it really is about managing with respect to your body.
Yes.
And managing the business model that your body can cope with. Yeah?
And that's part of the journey, is discovering that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's why the business model that I work on now is about, I make sure that I have a break every 3 months, so 4 times a year. I will have a week off where I do nothing. Yeah? Because I know what my body can handle and what it can't. So it's about designing the business that suits you.
That's right.
Yeah? This year, for 2 weeks in December, we're going to a health retreat and just having a detox retreat in Koh Samui for 2 weeks because it's respectful to my body. Yeah? So it's about planning your life and the systems and your business around that. I can work from Koh Samui because I have a fully automated online business. And like when I went on honeymoon, I'll probably earn 18 or 20 grand while I'm over there. So it is about understanding what your limitations are. And if your limitations are health at this stage, being okay with it, being absolutely okay with it, and designing your business model to suit that. Make sense?
I'm on track.
Beautiful.
I just need to excel that.
Yes, without harming your body.
Yeah, because I always plan to have a few days off after 3 days of training, because I travel around Australia training. So I always schedule in 3 days off.
Great. So she's scheduling in a couple of days off. She does workshop training around the country and always now plans a couple of days off to recuperate afterwards. Perfect. And I think, Wanda, you had a question. You had something as well? Oh, no, Michelle.
I was just going to say a complete lack of understanding of the social media aspect and how to get the ideas that I have to the wider audience or to people that I believe will want to pay for what I can offer.
Yeah. So who has that, where it's actually the how about social media, the how about building the audience, the how. Yeah, and that's what's got you stuck. And I think a big shift for you recently has been thinking about who and learning the systems rather than or outsourcing the systems rather than getting bogged down in the how. And then you have the beautiful John, who helps you out tremendously as well. Yes, we had here.
For me, I had difficulty with all the different aspects that we have to be on top of. But part of it was I really enjoyed getting my head around social media and building a website and marketing and everything. But in the beginning, I got ripped off by people who claimed they had skills they didn't have.
That?
And money that I didn't really have to waste.
Yep.
And now it's like I'm really ready to do that. Because as much as I love getting my head around it, I felt like I needed to so no one could rip me off again, tell me things that... But now it's like, well, this is still money that has to be put in the right places.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And now it's just about working smarter, and now you know the right questions to ask. I did that with my first online course. I actually tried a number of organisations to help me, and it cost me nearly $110,000 over a couple of years to actually get that, and my course failed dramatically. And then, I'll come to you in a moment, Brett. And then I stopped, I paused in my business, and I actually asked who rather than how, and I found an expert to help me learn the systems. I didn't want to be a digital marketer for the rest of my life. I didn't want to develop the courses and do the technical stuff for the rest of my life, but I wanted to learn enough so that I could ask the right questions of the people that I was employing or outsourcing to. So it's about getting wise, understanding enough to get wise about who you choose. Yes, Brett?
For me, what's kept me stuck is one word, which is exhaustion.
Absolutely.
And I think most of us are all flying solo, and you have to be careful of what you ask for. I always wanted to have a very successful practice, a six-figure practice. I've got that. But, hey, how do you keep maintaining that when you are on your own and you're doing everything, you're wearing every hat, the marketing, the sales, the therapist hat, the admin hat, and also self-care hat. So what's kept me stuck is now being the rat on the wheel and realising, hang on, I've got to think outside this.
Yep.
Hence why I'm here.
Absolutely, absolutely. Who's been there or is there, where it's just you're so busy on that wheel, keeping the business moving, and you're doing it well, and you're earning the money and the income, but you haven't got time to grow. Yeah, and that's about just getting through the breaking point, and I've been there, there's a point where you just think it's never going to get easier, and when you just find the right person to outsource or help you to do one or two aspects, then all of a sudden you break through. And all of a sudden, we've got a beautiful couple, I think in Townsville I mentioned before. They had have still an incredibly busy practice. They're doing multiple six figures, and it's an incredibly busy practice. But they were both working 6 days a week, exhausted, and didn't think they could. So they've spent the last 12 months developing an online course so that they could have 3 day weeks. So both of them could do alternate, so they still have the practice open 6 days a week, but they do 3 days each because they're replacing the income that they lose by having that second person. And now that one of them is off on those 3 days, one of those days they're working on marketing and social media. So their business is growing anyway. They're selling their course or doing something to joint venture their course. And so the income is growing anyway, but they have more time off now. So it is about getting through that threshold. And when you finally break through, it's just about having the right support and systems around you so that you can just push through that last moment. Rather than what I did was either my body would give out and I'd tumble back down a few rungs on the ladder, or I would just give up and go, it's too hard, I don't really want this because I'm too busy, I can't do it anymore. What we want to do is be able to move through that threshold without harming our body. Deal? All righty. So we're going to talk a little bit about Dr. Joy, and she's not in the room. Behind her back. And she'll be out there with her ears burning. Dr. Joy is beautiful. You'll see her latest book is coming out this Saturday night. We're pre-launching that. And she also has a previous book, and very well known in her industry prior, called The Chemistry of Aromatherapeutic Oils. And Dr. Joy had a lot of success a number of years ago, and I think she took time off to have a child, and the success that she had with her first book, she thought she was then forgotten because there were years where she became a mum and she focused on being a mum. And when she decided to actually come back into the marketplace, there was all those doubts and fears around, people aren't going to remember me, they don't know who I am now, other people in the industry have taken over, and there are huge people in her industry that have developed huge businesses around it. And for Joy, a lot of it was about working through her mindset stuff around who am I to step back up and who will remember me and what will I do, plus all of the new technology now. Before, when she was doing it, it was the traditional kind of publishing and workshops and keynote speaking. And now there was all this digital marketing stuff. So she still wanted to be able to have time to raise her child, but be able to leave her, I think she was teaching at one of the colleges, be able to leave that, which she now has, and go out on her own and develop her own online courses. She now has 3 different online courses in the system and has done a huge workshop tour around Italy and Europe. She was in South Coast America, Australia, keynote speaking in Hong Kong and Singapore, and this has all happened within 18 months of refocusing on her business. It's very cool. Actually, she just sent me... actually, that was a little comment on Facebook she did, was, dear ones, I've been so busy having the life of my dreams. And that was a part of a 6-figure group we were part of, that she hadn't had time to be in the group talking at all because she was too busy having a life of her dreams and travelling and doing all the things that she wanted to do. And she focused on, of course, in her industry, one of the big fears and mindset challenges she had was there was this organisation called the Tisserand Institute, which had kind of taken off where she left. Yeah, when she left to raise her child, the Tisserand Institute kind of became, and Robert Tisserand became the known person in the industry. And she kept thinking, oh my God, he's the big person in the industry. Who am I to step? And I said to her, stop thinking of him as competition or that he's going to think of you as competition and start thinking about how you can help each other and work together. And he still had respect for her. He remembered her book. And her book is now taught, I mean, it was even still taught in other countries. It's in other languages. And yeah, absolutely phenomenal. She's amazing, absolutely amazing. And she did a joint venture with Robert Tisserand. And their first webinar, they had 800 registrations on it. Because she got out of, this is my competition or I'm his competition and he's not going to want to know me, and into the model of, well, actually, I bring an expertise that can add value to his business and his business can add value to mine. Does that make sense? So it's about thinking outside of your box and thinking outside of your normal models of how you believe a business can be developed in this industry. Like, for instance, the Townsville couple, where they're now moving because they had a business in multi-level marketing or direct marketing before. They're now taking their therapeutic model into that world, and it's going to be huge, absolutely huge, because that model needs what they do. So when stepping into the life that matches your vision, doubts and limiting beliefs, fear and worry get in the way. Who believes that? Every time you step up to that next level, and even me, every time I step up to that next level, there's a little trigger that goes off in my head, and I challenge that. And I challenge it by recognizing it's just wiring firing in my brain. It's not who I am. I wasn't born fearing my expertise. I wasn't born doubting myself. I wasn't born putting myself down, fearing my success or fearing my failure. I learned how to do that. And if my brain learned that wiring, it can switch it off and learn something else instead. So we're going to challenge a few myths that might come up for you. And first one is writing a book takes too long and it can take years. Who believes that? It's too hard, too long. Look at you all. A couple of you? A little fear in the back of your head of how long is it going to take? Yeah, Amanda, we'll look at a testimonial from Amanda maybe on day 2 or 3, where she talks about that's what stopped her for years, because she had her 3 childcare centres, she had a very busy clinical practice, and her fear was that this was going to interrupt her life. She would not have any family time. It means she would have to take time out from her business, and her business would slow down, and all of this stuff because writing a book would take too long and it would be too hard. And she just talks about how easy, once you've got a system to follow, how easy it actually is to step up. So the reality is you can actually create your first draft of a book in 3 days if you follow a system. Who thinks that is possible? Absolutely. Who's done it? A couple of you have actually even done it. you can have, within 3 days, your first draft. It's a rough diamond, but it's still a diamond. You can have a rough draft of your book, and then you go away and you polish it, or if you don't know how to polish it, your job is not to be an editor. Your job is to be the creative author. Let an editor do the other job, which is polishing your book and making it read well. Yeah? Your job is to get your expertise out into a structure that makes sense to people. And that can be done in 3 days. Then it takes a little while, maybe a week or 2 or 3 or 4, depending on the quality of person you've hired to do that. It actually just takes a little while to polish that into a manuscript worthy of industry level credibility. Myth 2, I'm not good enough writer, I'm not creative, so I can't write a book. Who's got that going around in the back of their mind? That little tail-end voice, what does it say to you? Actually, I might just grab the mic again. Have we got a mic? Can you pass that down? Turn around.
For me, it's writing's torture for me.
Kate says, writing is torture for me. Who's got that going on? There's a couple of authors I know where it's just like, oh my God, this is way too hard. And there's so many ways to write a book. We'll get into that this afternoon.
That's my brain just thinking about it.
It's her brain just thinking about it. That's funny. Who else? Anyone else there? Where it's just too hard? No? Good. Oh, yeah.
I've still got, because I failed HSC English, I still have that belief system that I can't write.
So Mr. Happy says...
So I failed my HSC English, and I've always accepted that I'm no good at English, so I can't write. And I'm being an IT nerd, very left brain, not creative.
Who thinks it takes creativity to be an IT nerd? Hell yes! Oh my God, that deserves... Hang on. Yes. And yes again. It takes so much creativity. It's about breaking down the belief system that creativity is what? Everyone thinks creativity is painting or writing poetry or drawing. Creativity is thinking laterally, thinking about solving problems in very different ways. And do you have to do that in IT?
Shit, yeah.
Absolutely. And so what it is about learning how to use that creativity and direct it towards writing a book. And remember, you are not an editor, you are an author. So all your job is to follow a structure, which we're going to give you this afternoon, to get your genius out into a structure and then let an editor polish it. Your job is not to be an expert in grammar. Your job is to get your genius out of your head into a structure. Who thinks that's a, oh my God, thank God moment? Yeah. Absolutely. So again, it's not how, it's about who. Yeah, it's about just having a structure to get your genius out and realizing your creativity is your genius. Yeah. Be okay with that. Honor that. It's beautiful. Just take a deep breath.
This is for Mr. Happy. I actually used to teach HSC English, Advanced Extension 1 and Extension 2, and I'm thinking, oh, holy hell, I can't do this. So I think we need to team up.
Absolutely. What was that, sorry? Yes, Mr. Creative. I'm happy with Mr. Happy too. Do you get it? Your job is to use your expertise in the way that you use it, put it into a structure that other people can understand, and then find people to help you polish it, turn it into the shiniest diamond that you can. You are not an editor, you are an author. Do you get it? We actually have one of our other authors who's launching tomorrow night, who was very nervous. She's never done a public speak before, so she's very nervous about doing that. And she's very excited, but very, very nervous. And when it came to finding somebody to write her foreword, okay, now a foreword, for those of you that haven't written a book before, a foreword is usually done by somebody of note or somebody who understands that industry or is known within that industry and writes, after reading your book, writes an introduction to it and their understanding of it. It's kind of like a testimonial for it, if you like. And she said to me, who am I going to get? I don't know anyone, and, I'm not good enough, and I'm just Juanita, and who am I going to get to write this forward? And I said, well, just make a list. Her book is on addiction and habits. And I said, just make a list of all the people in Australia that have been known publicly to announce that they've had an addiction and struggled with some sort of addiction. And so she wrote a list of Jimmy Barnes and all of these people that have come out publicly and talked about an addiction that they've moved through. And then she just happened to be, and I said, okay, let's structure an email. So we structured an email and a messenger message that we could send on Facebook to send to them. And she started sending things out, and she was very nervous, and we had to work through some brain training stuff around, who am I to ask these people to write my foreword? And then she was walking through a bookshop, and she picked up a book, and it was a New York Times best-selling book. And this particular author was living in Australia and Sydney at the time, as in last week. And she went, Maggie, what should I do? And I said, send him the same message that you sent Jimmy Barnes, but put his name in it. And she went, really, do you think? And I said, yes. And so she sent him a Facebook messenger, and he messaged her back within 5 minutes and said, I'll be in Sydney City on Monday next week. I'd like to talk about that. Would you like a coffee? And then he messaged back and said, can I bring my manager? And so he is the world heavyweight, I can't remember his name now, sorry. He does boxing anyway, and he's very, very famous in boxing. He had a traumatic childhood and grew up in a family laced with addiction and abuse and all kinds of stuff, and has had gambling, alcohol and cigarettes and you name it, cocaine, you name it, addictions in his life. And is still struggling with a gambling addiction right now. And they met for coffee. She said to me, because he said to her, but I can't write. And she said, well, you've got a New York Times best-selling book. But he said, well, I didn't write it. A ghostwriter interviewed me for so many days, and they wrote the book. And he said, to be honest, I've not read much of it. He said, so I'm happy to do your foreword because I believe in what you're saying, but I can't write it. And so I said to Juanita, well, ask him if he's happy if I draft it for him, if her publisher drafts it for him, and then he and his manager can make any changes to it he likes. See if he's happy with that. Within 5 minutes, he came back and went, oh, yes, please, that's such a relief. So I drafted the foreword. He read over it with his manager over a coffee with Juanita on Monday afternoon, and they signed off on it and said, don't need to change anything, it's fine.
You had to pay for the forward?
No. Okay. No money changed hands. It's because the message resonated. Does that make sense? So you don't need to be the best writer in the world. He's evidence of that. He's got a New York Times best-selling book and he never wrote a word. But the message is so powerful. His book is incredible. He's really the real-life Rocky, okay? He has just mastered so much in his life through such a terrible upbringing. But he was able to be an author and create a huge audience around that as well. Does that make sense? So your writing, perfectionism needs to get out of the way. Your belief that you need to be a good writer needs to get out of the way. And your belief that says, I am an author with a message that I need to share, and there are editors in the world that can polish my message. Even the forwards. Deal? Has that myth been busted? Yes. Actually, that deserves a yes. I love that one. So, myth 3, I'm not the expert. I'm not an industry authority. What right do I have to put myself out there to be the expert in XYZ? Anyone got that going around in the back of our minds? A couple of you? Our role is to structure our expertise on a specific topic and get to know it so well that expertise comes from, okay, this is my recipe to authority. Expertise is combining perception, so other people's perception of us, with a pinch of confidence, and supported by research, good, solid research, so what we're writing is actually true, and a generous dollop of courage. That's all expertise is. So who's willing to have the courage this weekend to own being an expert? Some of you know what you're going to write about, some of you don't yet. Some of you think you know what you write about, and by the end of today you'll be going, maybe I need to write about something else. Yeah? Or a particular part of what you've already written, if you've gotten something out already, might be what you end up focusing on. So be open to the fact that lots of little ahas will happen as we go through the writing process this afternoon, and that something might change. Your subconscious might give you something that is even bigger than you think right now. Who's up for that?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Before, who was that, sorry?
That happens to me this afternoon, it's not good.
Michelle, who's about to launch her book tomorrow, she said, if that happens to me this afternoon, that's not good. No, we need to get this one out first, darling. Yeah. Myth 4, you have to work hard to make money. Oh my God, I had this running. Who has that? A lot of people in the therapeutic model do, because they grow up with that belief system, but then they move into an industry that says time for money. So the harder you work, the more you earn. The less you work, the less you earn. So that model lives up to that, doesn't it? So this is about breaking through that. And the myth is you can provide value without always selling your time. You can provide. I want you to just own that for the moment. Silently in your own mind, I want you to say, I can provide value without selling my time. You see how it feels in your body. That little tail-end voice, is it okay with it? Or does it give you a little, yeah, but what if? And just be curious about it. You don't need to work through it right now, but just be curious about it. There are things that we might need to be working through tomorrow in our mindset work. Deal? Getting known, myth 5, getting known as an expert will just make me busier. Oh! Amanda Dunas had that, the lady that's done the book for 8 to 12-year-olds. She had the belief that she couldn't write a book because it's just going to make me busier, and I'm already so busy I never get to see my family. And you'll see later on from her video, she just says, it was all a myth. When you follow a system, it was written with ease. And I actually still got to work just as much in my clinic because I love it, and I got to see my family. And she believed that she would have to be able to commit to getting that book out, she would have to give up some family time, give up her work time, and her business would suffer. And it was a myth because she followed a system. The truth is, getting known as an expert gives you choices and freedom. Absolute freedom. Getting known as an expert puts you in places that you don't even think are possible. So let's talk about planning your book. I just want to keep an eye on time. Both of my clocks have disappeared. Can somebody give me a... And we're finishing in... Just give me a how long to go. 12:30 we break? 50 minutes? Fantastic. Beautiful. So planning steps. The first thing is to actually decide the purpose of your book. Most people think the first thing that they need to decide is actually the topic that they're going to write about. That was a mistake I made for quite a few of my books that failed dramatically. I decided what my audience needed to hear. I decided... before I'd even found out who my audience was, because I knew I just wanted an audience, I decided what the topic was going to be. And I thought, because I thought it was a good idea, everybody would want that. And it might be a great idea, What you have already in mind might be a fabulous idea, but if you don't do the research to find out if that idea is a hot topic, if people are already searching for that topic on Google and on social media and in other places, if you don't do your due diligence, you risk putting years of work into a great piece of work that nobody ever reads. Who wants that? No way. Would you rather put lots of effort and enjoy the ride into a book and a message that you already have an audience for and that you sell before you've even got it out? Who wants that instead? Yes. So what we want to decide is, what do we want the book to do for us first? Then who do I want to speak to? From there we decide on the topic itself. Is it hot? So that's where our topic, we might decide with a little bit of research, maybe just needs a little tweak if we've already got an idea for a topic, or if we've already half written a book or in the process of, we might just need to tweak it slightly once we work out whether that topic is hot or not. There might be a little side topic from the topic you're working on that is hotter than the one you're working on. And so there's ways to find out whether a topic is hot. How do you make your book stand out? So what do you do with the branding? What do you do with your message? What do you do with your title in order to make that stand out from the crowd? The magic formula for a good title. So we then need to go through that formula and create a title that's actually going to make promises and outcomes to our audience, and then ensure that the URL is available that is either exactly the same as your title or part of it aligns to the title. So say, for instance, my Unzip book. I do have the URL Unzip the Fat Suit, but it was too big for some people, and for some markets, such as America, the fat suit wasn't particularly, it didn't resonate with them. So I also got an aligned URL, which was Unzip Weight. And so it was still aligned with my Unzip model and my Unzip brand, but it was, and depending on where I'm marketing. So in America, I market the Unzip Weight. In Australia and in the UK, I market the Unzip the Fat Suit. So it depends on your industry. You do your research to work out which market is hot and which isn't. Make sense? And don't be attached to titles. Don't be attached to your topic just yet. Just work out, is it going to actually sell? Is it what an audience wants first? And you might have your best ideas, and they might be worthy of breaking through that barrier of, 100 readers to 100,000 readers. But if those 100,000 readers don't want to hear what you have to say because the topic isn't the question they're asking, then you're never going to get that audience. So let's assume you will definitely write a good book. You will definitely write a book worthy of industry acclaim, of your own pride, worthy of people reading it and finishing it and completing it and going, oh my God, I'm so glad I bought that book. Let's assume that's exactly what you're going to do. It's a book that you're already going to provide value for. And what we need to ask is what most authors don't ask. Oh, thank you. He's just given me a timer. Is what most authors don't ask is, what do you want the book to do for you? If you don't have clarity about what that book will do for you, then you will be creating a potential monster that you don't want, and years down the track go, oh my God, this is too hard. So it needs to meet all of that criteria. So what do you want your book to do for you? We'll look at a couple of examples here, and there might be something on this list, or it might be something else for you. I want you to think about, do you want it to provide credibility for yourself? It might be more than one of these things, but I want you to just kind of go through this list and think about, what's the key one? What's the key one? What's the thing that... Showing expertise, yep. So Lulu's saying it for her, it's show expertise. So is it about a business card? So do you want a book that's just about building an audience so that you can go in and you do your talks and your workshops and you're leaving a business card for somebody so that, you give a business card to somebody as in a real business card, and that kind of goes in the bin 2 minutes later. Not many people throw away a book, do they? So that's a pretty good business card. And so it's about being honest with yourself. If it's a business card kind of book where you want to use it to build authority and build an audience, then that's a different kind of book than you would write if it's the legacy book that you want to leave, like my Unzip book. So once you know the purpose of the book, it kind of helps you determine the kind of book you're going to write. Is it about gaining celebrity? Is it about leaving a legacy? Is it a lead generation, just purely for lead generation? So you might then, if you're honest with yourself and that's what you need, you might then not want to produce a paperback. You might want to use just an ebook to do a paperback later on. But initially it might need to be an ebook. So until you have clarity about what you want the book to do for you, you don't know what type of book to produce, do you? You don't know how much money to expend in it. You don't know the outcome of doing it, if it's just writing a book for the book's sake. With this book, I wrote it because I wanted to leave a legacy and believed that everybody needed to know all of this if they ever wanted to break through the emotional eating pattern. Yeah, because this isn't really about weight loss. This is about addictions to food, emotional eating, stress eating, comfort eating, secret eating, all of that. Yeah? And so if anyone that needed that, I have a legacy book that I could give to them. Yeah? Whereas this book, I did it because I wanted a lead generation into industry. Yeah? I wanted credibility into industry with my CPR brain training model. And I wanted to go to a different level. So this was more for industry and this was more for end user. Does that make sense? So for you, it's about determining what is it that you want, because it will help you determine not only the type of book and the title of your book, but also the content and the structure of that book as well. Also, when we look at the bigger business model of do we want to do workshops or do we want to do online courses, webinars, if we want to do keynote speaking, then your book needs to represent the direction in that model as well. Perhaps you want it to fill workshops and seminars. You want to use it as a media interview potential. Yeah? Nothing like the media loves, especially morning shows. They love upcoming authors. Love it. Especially in the States. Absolutely love it. So if that's the purpose for you to build a media profile, then it's a different kind of book again, isn't it? It might need to be controversial so that you can actually create press releases that anticipate a little bit of controversy in a particular topic. So it would change the kind of title you would choose for your book as well. Perhaps it's about making a difference. For you, it's that place in your heart that you know you want to make a difference to the world in some way. And that will all determine the kind of book you write and the topic as well as the audience. Is anyone getting little ahas about for them? Not about writing a book for the audience just yet. We're assuming your book is going to be brilliant. Let's put that aside. We're assuming you're going to put your heart and soul into it. You're going to put all of your credibility into it. It's going to be a generous, genuine, incredibly uplifting and changing book. Let's put that aside and let's work out what you want. It's a totally different way of looking at writing your book, isn't it? So to achieve that purpose, you've got to ask yourself, what do I want to say to achieve that? And who do I want to say it to? So if our purpose is to leave a legacy, or if our purpose is a lead generation, what do we need to say in that is going to provide enough information that people are going to like, value and trust who we are, that we can use it to build our audience and create an audience for, we might be going to sell our online course to, and the book is just a pathway into that. Or we might be going to do a workshop tour and our book is just a pathway into that. Or we might want to go and speak to industry and our book is just a pathway into that. So it's a lead generation. And so what does the book need to say in order to reach that audience, and who am I speaking to? That's when you go to the what and the who, after you've decided why. Why for you, not why for the audience. Make sense? Once you've then got the what and the who, and you've done your research to determine that your topic is a hot topic, it's already what people are searching for on Google, it's already what people are searching for on social media, then you can determine that there is a potential audience for that topic and that book. So we need to then start with the who, don't we? So we need to go into a lot of detail with the who. And on Sunday, Annie's going to speak to you about the language that we use to connect to that who. Right now, we want to look at the actual structure of the information we need to find out about them. So we need to start with the demographics, obviously. So we look at their age and their gender, their income, their medical profile, all of the basic kind of stuff that we want to know, their education level. Do they have children? All of that kind of stuff. We then need to go to their interests. So what do they watch? What do they read? What are their hobbies? What do they spend money on? Which shops? Where are they before they come to you? So are they in particular groups or meetups, or are they going to counselling elsewhere, or where are they before they come to you? It's like, you know, somebody with an addiction, like Juanita with an addiction book. Her who and where they were is they were at other therapists and counsellors not getting any results. Yeah, so they were at talk therapists and they weren't getting results. So her who were people who were at that last resort stage. They've been there, they've done the therapy, they've done the counselling, they've done all this stuff, and that's where they were before they came to her. Does that make sense? So when we know where our audience has been before they come to you, we can start targeting our market specifically to them. What do they do for fun? Where do they holiday? What social media do they use? That's very specific because different social media targets different ages and genders. So, you know, we need to understand that about our audience. We then continue with their emotional and psychological profile. So we look at what keeps them up at night. What are they, you know, upset about? What do they get angry about? What are they happy or fearful about? Who do they love? Who do they hate? Who do they fear? Who do they respect? Who do they listen to? Yeah? Are they happy? What's their overall, if you could, you know, summarise their overall emotional strength or weakness. Is it they're generally a sad person, or are they generally a happy person? Like, if you could summarise that. Does that make sense? If we then go to their greatest problems and desires from there, so we look at what would they say their top 3 problems are. And I would recommend here is that you don't actually just, I recommend you do this kind of profiling yourself. But then if you have a little audience somewhere already on social media, or a little audience in your own clinic, that you actually interview them about these kinds of things as well, because you will be surprised about what you think they want versus what they actually want. And as therapists, who gets trapped in the cycle of using therapy language and describing what our clients want in therapy language, rather than what our clients really want? Like clients, and Annie will talk a lot about this on Sunday, you know, our clients don't get up in the morning and put their feet on the side of the bed and go, oh, I'd really like a mindset change today. Or, oh, I'd really like to release weight today. That's therapy language. They don't wake up saying that. They wake up going, I feel like shit. I need some help. I'm sick and tired of this. Why am I doing this again? Why do I feel this way? Oh my God, today's going to be so busy. How am I going to cope? That's what they wake up doing, doesn't it? That's the language they use. But we get trapped in the therapeutic model, don't we? And so we start marketing and we start speaking to our client from that model rather than treating them as human beings who put their feet on the side of the floor, when they get up in the morning and go, oh, what next? Oh, I've got to do it again. Can we just wait for the microphone? Here we go. Thank you, Kira.
Amanda. I'm actually a naturopath, so I'm a little bit different to a lot of the counselling and psychotherapy and things.
I'm sure you do a lot of counselling.
I catch and I refer on. Don't
It's like
worry about that.
hairdressers. They're kind of counsellors too, aren't they?
So I've done an online version of Maggie's, and I'm that person who watched every webinar, even when she went live for 8 weeks.
Yeah.
I've never done that before in my 52 years, and I loved every minute of them.
Thank you.
And it was really good because one of the things that really helped me with that, and I'm hoping to expand upon that here today as well, is that I realised that my topic was incredibly broad and my description was my description.
Yes.
And that I was just going to say...
Do you remember what that was? Can
yeah,
you share?
totally.
Yep.
I'm a wellness dynamo and I'm a burnout expert. Now, burnout's massive. Now, I've now come down and I'm now the slumber hunter because my people, when I polled them, it's sleep.
And
And
you get it?
For 12 months yesterday, my burnout bunker group was 12 months yesterday. 389 organically grown. Thank you as well. And I have probably one person joining every week that has got nothing to do with anyone on my friends list or client list.
Oh,
And I am so proud of myself.
you should be.
I've been sick of
You
weeks.
get the yes button.
And I've got 3 people posting on my behalf while I'm
And again.
sick.
And again.
And again.
Yes.
And again.
Yeah.
Yes. That's fantastic.
And I just
Amanda.
want
Well
to-
done. Congratulations. And her last comment was, I got 3 people posting for me while I'm here.
Yeah.
Hello.
Just like, and it's on topic.
Yeah. Do you get it?
Yeah, I know.
That's super exciting. And how long has that been? When did you do that?
So it was 12 months. 12 months yesterday. I started the group,
12 months.
and I did it because you just said, "Just do it." Was it published, not perfect?
Yep.
Something along those lines
Yep.
were the words.
Yep.
And I just put it out there, and I put the description, which was actually the Merriam-Webster description of burnout. Found a really cool poster of a guy drowning in the ocean with paperwork, and I've probably got about 40% male, 60% female. Got a couple of avid male posters, which really threw me.
That's huge.
Yeah.
To get regular male posters.
And
is-
commenters and likers. So but it's been a journey, I have to say.
Yep.
But
Yep. And did you make mistakes along the way?
oh, totally, and I still have.
And is that
I'm doing it
okay?
every day. Yes, although I'm not owning it very well this week.
Why?
Oh, because I've been sick and I'm off.
Oh,
training.
okay. Yeah. But I still make mistakes. Yeah. I launch a new book or I launch a new product or I just launch a Facebook ad campaign and one will just go swimmingly and next will just crash. And that's okay. It's the cost of doing business. But you limit your risk by finding the right people to help you or at least researching and doing your due diligence enough to know that you're making a calculated risk.
People love polls, just thought I'd tell you.
Oh, people love helping out as well.
Seriously, you just whack 2 pictures in there with a yes, no underneath it. You know, I did one on weighted blankets for crying out loud, and I got like 45 comments in about 20 minutes.
Yeah. Sleep's a hot topic.
Seriously, massive.
Absolutely massive. Actually, Dr. Joy, I got you to do some polls on your book cover, didn't I?
Yes, you did, and that was
This is an immense thing that we can do. If we've already got a little audience there, asking them what they prefer rather than what we think, we can have a great idea for a book topic or a title or a book cover, and we think it's super fabulous, and we put it out to our audience and they go, yeah, well, not really interested. Yeah? Where's she gone?
Oh, I thought you didn't want me to speak.
No, I did. Sorry, I was just...
I just thought you wanted me to say yeah.
No.
What was the question?
A poll. You put a poll out about your book cover.
Yeah, I had this fabulous idea that I thought would be really good to call my book Dr. Joy's Aromatherapy Donut, because I really like eating and And I thought it would be awesome because I have a model of the human being as a donut. You know, you've got your skin, you've got your inside. You know, really all we are is a digestive
It made
tube.
sense as a therapist, yeah? Coming from a therapeutic model, it made sense.
And, you know, the aromatherapy, the smell of the cinnamon that gets people in, you know, blah, blah. And then you have the flesh and what goes on the inside. Fabulous concept. Awesome. I polled and they slammed it. I had 900 comments from I have 1,000 people, organic, in a year or two. But anyway, just because I have fun. But it was extraordinary. So the title is Dr. Joy's Aromatherapy. Use essential oils with confidence for psyche, skin and health. And it's over there. It's got an orange banner across
So before she had a model of a donut and it all looks lovely. And it was,
That's what that means.
Yeah, exactly. Or getting fat, and aromatherapy and fat and donuts is bad. They're bad for you. That's a bad thing. They all said it's bad, except for one or two who said, "Ooh, I like donuts."
So do you get it? Polling and asking their opinion once we've got on track. Yeah? And it may help us to get clarity, and it may change our minds instantly. But remember, we need to give our audience what they want and then give them what they need. So we give our audience, I want you to write that down, we give our audience what they want and then we give them what they need. So we market to them with what they want. Our title is what they want, the solution that they want, the answer to the problem that they want, the answer to the thing that wakes them up at 2 a.m. in the morning. That's what's in our title. That's what's actually, and then we follow through and give them what they want in the book. The book has the credibility to provide that answer. And then we give them what they need on top of that. Does that make sense? So 100% of our content is giving them what they want, and then we give them another 100% of what they need. The stuff that they don't want to know they need. They know they need some mindset stuff. They know they need to let go of their fears. They know that, but they don't want to be told that because that's hard work. People want a quick fix. So we give them what they want and then over-provide for them. Deal? Oh, love this stuff. So the clearer we are on who, after we've decided why, remember our why is why do we want to write the book? Then it's our who are we writing for? Because we've chosen a hot topic. What have we done to find out if we're a hot topic? We're going to go into the specifics of that, but we're going to poll or we're going to find out who's searching what on Google, and there's ways to do that. So, do you already have a topic in mind? Let's do a little poll right now, speaking of polls. Hands up if you definitely have a topic and feel it's unmovable. Yep. Hands up if you've got 2 minutes to choose and you don't know where to start. Yep, a couple of you. And maybe I'm not sure. Definitely. And no idea at all. I'm just here to get clarity about whether I want to write a book. Yeah, fantastic. Wherever you are in that poll is absolutely perfect because this weekend is about helping you get clarity. And you may decide you don't need a book if you work on the business model and you go, actually, I need to start with webinars or whatever it is. Yeah, we work out that and get some clarity about it. Cool. So those of you who have definitely decided what you're writing about, I want you to tell me tomorrow whether that's slightly tweaked or whether it's exactly the same still. Deal? Cool. Alrighty, so before we choose our definite topic, let's linger a little longer on the who. Well, let's address your why and a little deeper as well, okay? We're going to do what I call your contribution statement. I learned this process a couple of years ago now, and I can't remember his name. He's a big internet marketing guru in the States, and I can't remember his name. Can you remember his name, the contribution statement? That's it, Alex Schaffen. And I tweaked it slightly for the therapeutic model, but it's really helped me make the shift from being, how we're so busy in our practices and things. 1 minute we're a therapist, the next minute we're a bookkeeper, and the next minute we're supposed to be an author writing our book. Yeah? having a contribution statement, it's kind of like your mission statement. It has actually, thank you guys for handing those out, it has helped me make the shift instantly from one mindset to the next mindset, as well as it's helped me gain incredible clarity on how to actually connect with my audience and connect with the message that I'm sending out. So before you read the little handout that you've been given, I'm going to, actually no, we'll go through the handout first and then I'll read these. I'm going to give you 2 examples of my contribution statements, and then before we break for lunch, I'm going to get you to start on this for yourselves. So a contribution statement is really connecting to not just what you do and how you do it, but it's connecting to the reason and the impact that you have on your audience and the reason and the impact that you have on you and your life as well. So the first part is actually talking about what your contribution to the world is. We then go into who we're serving, so the who. We go into how we serve them. So what do we actually do? Do we provide courses? Do we do webinars? Do we do one-on-one? How we actually physically serve those people. We then do the changes that makes for them. So it's what's in it for them. Then we do how do I measure whether I've been successful? What's my measuring stick? And then what's in it for me? What do I gain out of this as well? And then we do our little call out to the universe of gratitude that we've already got. It's as if that audience is already here and how grateful we feel for them. Okay? So I'm going to read you 2 different contribution statements that I have. And the reason I have 2 is actually the tip of the iceberg. I actually have about 6. Because I do 1 contribution statement for each product or audience that I'm focusing on at that time. Because my purpose for the reader of my Unleashed book is totally different for the purpose for my Money and New Brain training course. Make sense? So I have a Money and New Brain training contribution statement. I have an Unzip Weight contribution statement. I have a big autoimmune group with about 3,000 members in it, and I have a different contribution statement for them because it's about my heart connection to them. So I can go from one product to the next by just using my contribution statement to connect into who I'm serving and what I'm doing for them. So I'm going to read you my autoimmune community first. So my contribution is to serve the autoimmune community to move them toward health naturally and find peace with their body. And the reason I made that first contribution statement is that having been in battle with multiple autoimmune diseases for 35, 40 years of my adult life, I know after interviewing so many thousands of people that I've treated in clinic with autoimmune and with my own journey that I didn't have peace with my body. And until I found peace with my body, the disease kept manifesting. Yeah, and it's only in this last, and I've been working through that battle for years, and it's only literally, Michael, when was it? When did I go to the renal specialist? Oh, he's gone, yeah. Probably 3 months ago, 2 months ago. Up till this point, no matter how much work I did, no matter how hard I worked on releasing and balancing and nurturing and self-care and changing my business model to suit my body and healing and all the things that I did, whenever I went and had my markers done, and because I have to have an annual MRI because I've had multiple strokes, I've had kidney failure multiple times, so I have kidney biopsies regularly and bloods every 3 months to check my ANA levels and double-strand DNA, all of that. For, what am I now, 53 years old. I was officially diagnosed at 21, but I was probably sick for probably all of my childhood as well beyond that. So really, for 50-odd years, I've been battling with autoimmune disease. And no matter what I did therapeutically, no matter what I did with my business to change my business model, my body was still never at peace, because when I did my bloods were still telling me my body was in turmoil. It was only literally in this last few weeks that I had my bloods and they've been reducing very gradually over the last year. So the levels, all markers, there used to be 14 markers for lupus. I have lupus nephritis, which is kidney failure that comes with it. There were 14 markers to measure that. And all markers were in the you are supposed to be dead range for 50 odd years. And the doctors used to look at me and go, I don't know how you're still standing here. But my body got used to a certain amount of sickness and lived with it. Yeah? And they've gradually reduced over the years. But it was a few weeks ago that I went and had all levels done, and everything, including my double-strand DNA, was in completely normal range. And my specialist said to me, you don't have lupus. If I treated you today and did your test today, I would not believe you've ever had lupus in your life before. Your body is peaceful when I do your stats. Yeah? And so I know that that is the battle that people with autoimmune have. Whether it's rheumatoid arthritis, whether it's lupus or scleroderma or thyroiditis or colitis or whatever it is, they have a battle with their body. And then they have a battle with fearing the disease and fearing the stress that causes the disease to manifest again, the flares. So there's the fear of the disease and the fear of stress, so they don't want to be busy. I can see people kind of nodding, going, oh yeah, you might either know somebody with an autoimmune or have it yourself. But that fear simmers underneath, and it takes a lot to release that. And so when I polled my autoimmune community, and I resonated with what was going on for me, the big thing that came back was they wanted to feel peaceful with their body. How cool would that be? So whether it's a weight issue somebody's been challenged by, or whether it's a disease, or whether it's an addiction, there's an ill-at-ease feeling, isn't there? And when we feel peaceful with our body, the protein around the DNA changes. It literally changes. That's called epigenetics. And the gene changes. The genes switch on and off. So my genes right now say I do not have lupus because I'm at peace with my body, whatever size or shape it is, whatever it can or can't do, whatever weaknesses or strengths it has, I'm at peace with it. And so my contribution statement is, I serve the autoimmune community to move toward health naturally and find peace with their body. I serve people with autoimmune disorders and their families, because it's their families that don't know how to handle it. Yeah, they worry, they fear, they fret. I serve people with autoimmune disorders and their families and empower them to use their mind to help their body. This changes, oh no, actually, sorry, I need to get my proper reading glasses. I'm using my long vision. I missed a... I serve them through, this is how I do it, so step through. I serve them through my Facebook community, Living Well with Autoimmune. I provide free and paid online training programs, books, webinars, seminars, and coaching. That's how I do it. Does that make sense? This changes their lives. This is about them because they know they are not alone. That's a huge thing for people with long-term autoimmune. They feel like they're alone. They can't talk to people about it. They feel freer, their challenges are heard, and they feel empowered to do something for themselves and their body to move forward toward health naturally. I know I am successful when I have 20,000 members. That's my measuring stick. When I have 20,000 free members in my Living Well with Autoimmune community. This is important to me, so it comes back to me now. This is important to me because it's my privilege. See, it still gets me. Yeah. It's my privilege to serve them because I know it. I know about it. I know how hard it is, and I know the challenges that they go through. So it's my privilege and joyous purpose to share wisdom. It makes me feel fulfilled and purposeful, knowing that the AI journey, the autoimmune journey that I've been on, has empowered others to step into their truth, into their health, into their joy as well. And then I do the call out. So I call out from my heart to yours. I am ready to serve you. Those with autoimmune, I'm ready to serve you and I'm ready to guide you. ready to help you find peace with your body and a powerful, healthy mind. Thank you for being ready to step up for your body. I am so grateful, and I move into a space of gratitude where I call them to me. Does that make sense? So a contribution statement is more than just your mission statement. A contribution statement is how are you sharing your wisdom with the world, the steps that you're actually doing to do it, and then already feeling the power and the change that happens with that. This is my contribution statement for this program, for the Wellness Business by Design. My contribution is to serve more than, get this, 20 million people. Now there's 50 odd people in this room. So how do you think I'm going to serve 20 million people? My contribution is to serve more than 20 million people who have an inner knowing that there is more for them to do and be. They have challenges they don't know how to conquer, and they want to live a fulfilled life and find more happiness and peace. I do this by serving. This is who I serve. That's what I want to do. That's my contribution to the world, to 20 million people. I do this by serving more than 200 wellness practitioners. I don't need many, just 200. To share their unique message to help more than 100,000 people each. Whoa. I can't do that alone. I can't do 20 million people alone and really reach them and really touch them and help them shift and change, because I'm one message. People need different messages with different voices and different outcomes and different focuses and different purposes. And so I've got a goal to have 200 practitioners who want to reach 100,000 people each. Minimum, that's at least, yeah? Those practitioners help those people solve those challenges. I can't do it all. And live a fulfilled life. They do this by sharing their messages in their books and educating others through their online courses. It's not about me, yeah? It's about you. You've got a different message to me. You're going to reach a different audience. And that's what's important. I help these practitioners by providing, this is the how I do it, by providing mentoring and done-for-you publishing and digital marketing programs. I educate them through my books and online courses, my workshops and events like these. This changes those practitioners' lives by helping them live their purpose, feel fulfilled, and make a difference to a community of fans who are inspired by their message, your message. The practitioners feel respected in their industry and create financial security and the lifestyle that they want. They get to leave their legacy and security for their retirement. Hell yeah. I know I've done this when I've published more than 200 books for wellness practitioners. That's an easy marketing level, isn't it? An easy scale. Books and online courses, and have helped them put marketing in place to reach more than 100,000 people each. So when those 200 wellness practitioners have an audience of 100,000 people, I've reached that 20 million goal. Thanks, darling. 10 minutes. This is important to me because I get to empower more people than I do right now on my own. It takes the pressure off me. I used to feel this incredible burden that I'd been through this journey, that I had all these messages and these skills and this wisdom to share. And how was I supposed to do it? I wanted to teach people about this. I wanted to teach people about that. I wanted to be this. I wanted to do that. And I was skilled enough to do it if I put my mind to it and became the expert. How do we become the expert? We look at the perception of other people, what they have of us. We add a dash of courage. We add a dollop of research. Yeah, we bring it all together and we become the expert. So we can all become the expert in anything we put our mind to, with time, input, research, and courage. But I can't do that, and I don't have the energy, and I have a limited lifespan. We all do die some point, yeah, or transition at some point. And I also wanted a family life. I also wanted to get to know my grandchildren. I wasn't able to have children, and now I have a husband who has 3 beautiful children, who have 2 of them have produced the most amazing grandchildren. I have 4 grandchildren under 5. I wanted to get to know them. I wanted to experience that, and I couldn't do it by, trying to reach 200 million people myself. But I can do it by taking a bite-sized chunk. I know who my audience are. Does that make sense? That's what I want you to understand. Know who your audience is, take the bite-sized chunk, and then do your picture and your business around that. This is important to me because I get to empower more people than I can do on my own. It takes the pressure off me, and it's my privilege to share that wisdom. I feel fulfilled myself by sharing that wisdom, and I know I'm living my purpose. I offer gratitude, and this is where I call those practitioners. I offer gratitude to those practitioners for being ready to step up for themselves, to share their message with the world too, doing their bit. And I am grateful and excited to serve. Does that make sense about a contribution statement and why we do it? Every time I want to move into, say yesterday I was working on a marketing plan for my Unzip Weight course, okay? And how hard is it to then shift into working on books and programs and online courses? I read this 3 times this morning and I stepped into it. I stepped into the identity of the online course developer, the publisher, the author. Does that make sense? It's an instant change maker. It's an instant shift, state shifter. And when you get it right, it moves you. Like I read that and my heart flutters because I know how easy it is to reach 200 wellness practitioners. Yeah, if I think about trying to reach 20 million people, what does my head do? It goes, whoa, that's a bit hard. Oh, hang on, maybe I just won't do anything and I'm going to watch, I think I need to watch Lucy. Yeah, Netflix, give me Netflix. Yeah, so procrastination steps in, or all my old programs step into place. Whereas when I go, I'm here to reach 200 wellness practitioners. Oh my God, that's easy. That's so easy to do. It's absolutely possible. So I want you to start thinking about your contribution. Who are you serving? What's it going to do for them? And we're going to break for lunch. So what we're going to do is I want you to have a think about your contribution statement. Maybe go away for 5 minutes in a quiet time at lunchtime and just kind of think about those 6 steps and start making some notes. And we'll put 10 or 15 minutes into it as well when we get back from lunch. But I want you to really kind of start contemplating what contribution are you here to make? What's the audience? Who are you here to inspire, help, lead, take to the next level? And how do you do it? That's your business model. Are you going to do it through a book? Are you going to do it through online courses? Are you going to do it through workshops, webinars, one-on-one? However you're going to do it. That's your model and it's unique to you. You don't have to do it my way. You can do it your way. And then what does that do for them? How are you going to measure the success? What does it do for you? And make the call out to them. Feel the feeling as if you already have reached them. Find the gratitude and the space that kicks in that gut and kicks in your heart, and that your head and your heart just swim with excitement when you think about it. Deal? Yep. I can't wait. And whoever wants to share a contribution statement later on, you're more than welcome to. You don't have to, of course. But this can be just for you if that's what you wish. But have a think about it at lunchtime. Give it a few minutes just to ponder and contemplate while you're having a little something healthy to eat. And then we'll come back here. What time is it now? 12:30. So we'll come back here at 1:30. Make sure you try and get some fresh air. We're all inside with no fresh light, no natural lighting and stuff. So try and get some natural light and some fresh air over lunch. And we'll see you back here at 1:30. Well done, everyone.